Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Gun and CHRiSYOON here on Blistering Sands. Was trying to find replays for a while and was unable to until I found this one. It comes pretty highly rated to me. I'll see how it goes. We have CHRiSYOON spawning as the red Zerg on the top right hand side. Meanwhile, we have Gun on the bottom left hand corner. First things first, just want to give a shout out to John Riojas, also known as Wexican. Today is his 23rd birthday. Yeah, his girlfriend came up or started contacting me and asked me if I could give him a shout out since he listens to so many of my shoutcasts. And anyone out there who watches StarCraft enough to have their girlfriend know who I am, that's pretty heavy dedication. So happy 23rd birthday, John. I hope you enjoy the shout out, and yeah, gonna go ahead and get into this game. We now have Gun as the blue Protoss player heading out across the map here on Blistering Sands, just trying to make sure that there is not going to be some sort of fast hatchery, fast expansion. If there is going to be a fast expansion, Gun's little probe will be able to block that fairly easily. Back over here in the base, however, we have a spawning pool being placed down, so that means we will not be seeing an early fast expansion or an early pool. Now, a couple of questions after patch 9 or after patch 9, patch 10 was released, players were kind of curious on what exactly some of these other markings were. If you see these little markings right over here, those are actually the decals that Blizzard was talking about when for part of the achievement system. So you can actually get different little characters here. This character here stands for the brood or the swarm. I don't see any. Oh, the symbol here, I can't really click on it, but right there on the top left hand side of that green box is the symbol for the Protoss. Anyways, coming back, we have probes. The probe now getting chased away by 6 of those Zerglings, so those Zerglings will be able to push back that probe. Oh wow, that probe doing a nice job pulling away, seeing whether or not those Zerglings are doing more of a rush or actually going after that probe. So the Zerglings now going for a rush, and this may come as a little bit of a surprise. Gun only with one single Zealot, so that one Zealot gonna be able to take down that last probe, and now trying to chrono boost another Zealot. We'll see how this works. Gun getting set up in a little bit of a more defensive position, keeping that Zealot by that probe in order to be able to do a little bit of engagement. However, one probe getting quickly taken down by Chris. So Chris already taken down. So it's going to be 2 Zealots versus 6 Zerglings. How is this really going to all work out? Second gateway now being built in. Now trying to get a little bit of a surround. Gun being very smart, staying close to the edge of these buildings, ensuring that there isn't a nasty surround. Those 6 or 4 Zerglings, 5 Zerglings, once they get a surround off on a Zealot, can easily take it down. However, Gun is able to continually recharge these shields, and in comes these Zerglings into the mineral line. One probe already taken down, 1 Zergling or 2 Zerglings taken down. There goes 3 Zerglings, so 3 Zerglings left. Another Zergling getting stuck in between 2 minerals, and very nicely done by Gun. So Gun is able to fend off this a little bit of a 6-pool rush early in the game. Now finally going for that Vespene Geyser. Now, I have been listening to the comments and the commentary, or in the notes that people have been leaving for me. I'll try to slow down my game just a little bit. And, oh, that's interesting. The markings on, or the decals on the spawning pool are different than the decals on the hatchery. That may be a bug. I believe this is the marking for Jim Raynor's Terran squad, and these little markings are the markings for the brood. So Blizzard, if you're watching this, I'm not sure if this is a bug, but it's just more of an art thing. Go ahead and let people know. If I'm wrong, then yeah, let me know that I'm wrong. You can contact me. You should know. I believe you guys have my email address. Anyways, Gun now running around with that Zealot. We'll see how this with the Cybernetics core now coming down, Gun has a couple of options. He can either try to go into a little bit of a 4-gate push, or try to go for either Robotics core or even a Stargate. Stargate producing those Void Rays. Void Rays are very strong. 2 Void Rays can easily take down a Queen, and then move on to take down that hatchery as it deals very, very heavy damage once the fight is underway. Now, people continuing to message me. Anyways, luckily I have my Do Not Disturb up, so you should no longer see any messages during a shoutcast. Gun sitting with a couple Zealots outside his ramp, and just trying to hold that position, making sure that no Zerglings are able to come in and perhaps get a little bit of a scout. Also, Gun running around with this Zealot, no one taking their natural expansions yet, so both players just sitting in their base, perhaps trying to tech up and trying to get some sort of strategy underway. Army-wise, CHRiSYOON sitting on a very small army, only 1 Zergling against Gun's very large army, 6 Zealots and 1 Stalker. So those Stalkers will be able to take down a lot, or that army, if they tried to engage, would have been able to take down a lot. However, because Gun is playing a little bit more defensive for some strange reason, CHRiSYOON with this Zerg will be able to expand very well and perhaps take over a large portion of the map. We now have a couple roaches on the move as well, so an army of roaches moving out, just scampering across the ground. Gonna go ahead and activate this Zelnaga Watchtower. Zealot trying to engage on that roach. 2 roaches getting a couple quick hits in. Gun Zealot now returning all the way home. Does not want to get caught in that midfield. Gun also has a couple Stalkers on this high ground, but playing very defensively. These roaches perhaps scampering, not destroying these destructible rocks, and just perhaps trying to hit on this front door. He needs to make sure that there is no expansion being put up by Gun. So a couple roaches, a few roaches, almost a command row of roaches, 7 roaches sitting outside the base. Overlord floating overhead on this little wide chasm, making sure that it's out of range of those Stalkers. And now we're going to have a little bit of engagement here, and this is not going to be that helpful. Those roaches, however, were focus firing, so able to take down one of those Zealots very easily. Taking back at the base, we are now at tier 2, so Hydralisk or Mutalisk should be joining in very shortly, and in comes the Sentry. The Sentry should perhaps drop down or either use a Guardian Shield once he gets enough energy, as it costs 75 energy, reducing the damage of those roaches from 16 to 14. Now, one thing I did want to mention earlier, some people were saying that I was a complete noob for not knowing that Marauders saying that Reapers deal more damage to buildings than Marauders. Now, one of these things that, it obviously makes sense. The Reaper does 30 damage per attack compared to a Marauder, but the Marauder has a faster attack rate. So the Marauder with that faster attack rate, especially when stimmed, even though it only does 20 damage per charge or per round of attack, attacks much more quickly. And because of that, I'm after looking at a couple of the math scenarios, the Marauder actually does deal more damage to an armored building than a Reaper does. So just something important to note. Gun now with the robotics facility getting some Immortals, not getting the level 2 weapons upgrade yet on that forge. The forge only there for a couple of those cannons. However, normally I would see that those cannons were positioned in a little, perhaps put down a gateway here or some sort of building, and making sure that those roaches have a hard time trying to take down those buildings. Oh, very nicely done. Stalker getting in front of that Overlord, and that Overlord now taking a fair amount of damage, trying to run away. That Stalker will be able to just move and attack. Overlord needs to take 2 more hits, 1 more hit, and down it goes. So Overlord getting taken down, but both players taking their natural expansions at about the same time. And yeah, this is a little curious that the markings on this building are, I believe, are the Gym Rainer, but over here it is the Brood building. So yeah, I think that is a bug. Yeah, this is still the Protoss building icon. Back in play, Zealots once again being warped in. Gun sitting on a 72 over 92 food army. CHRiSYOON sitting on a 12-25. So still CHRiSYOON not macroing up nearly as quickly, and Gun having the economic advantage and also having the army advantage, but for some reason Gun still playing rather conservatively. Looking at the tech on CHRiSYOON, CHRiSYOON doesn't have an infestation pit, so we'll be able to get to tier 3. Perhaps we'll see Broodlords in this game. Broodlords are one of those very, very powerful Zerg units that are very difficult to counter, especially for Protoss. Protoss, the natural counter would be Void Rays, but Void Rays are so easily taken down by Hydralisk that it doesn't really, that it's very difficult. CHRiSYOON having a couple infestors down here, having fungal growth and neural parasite, and now in come those force fields. So, but however, quick neural parasites focusing down those, using those immortals to try to shoot back and trying to take down more of those units. However, the infestors were focused down. Those infestors have a range of 9 now, but did not wait until those Immortals got within a closer range before they tried to Neuroparasite. If the Neuroparasite was actually casted with a range of 9, those Immortals and those Stalkers would not have been able to take down the Infestors, and those Infestors would have been able to just simply destroy them very easily. Now, Stalkers coming in, dealing damage towards those Overlords, Spine Crawlers being warped in. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between CHRiSYOON and Gun here on Blistering Sands.